Alfa's superSUV, Heresy You know the tactic by now. Global appetite for big, imposing 4x4s is insatiable. Alfa Romeo needs to make money. The Giulia saloon's platform and mechanicals were always destined, to spawn the midsized Stelvio SUV. And since the Giulia, despite being a fine steer and refreshingly sortedforanAlfa, isn't actually racing out of showrooms, Alfa needs the Stelvio to start racking up the orders. Offended by another classic marque kneeling at the superSUV altar? Look at it this way: this is the closest you're going to get to a fast Giulia estate. Is it very practical then, the Stelvio? Not massively, compared to the new BMW X3 or a Mercedes GLC. It's a sporty-focused car, even the standard diesel version. Drive smartly, ask questions about visibility and spaciousness later, not that this is a standard version. Not by any means. So this is basically a jacked-up Giulia quadrifoglio super saloon? Sounds promising. It's not quite that simple, but plenty of juicy bits are hoiked straight from Alfa's M3 beater. First up, the magnificent, Ferrari-developed heart. The Stelvio quadrifoglio runs a 2.9-liter biturbo V6 that, you'll probably remember, forms 3/4 of the old Ferrari California T's V8. It develops 503 bhp and 443 pounds-feet, which is bang on the money for the moonshot, middle-sized SUV posse right now. AMG GLC 63S, 503 bhp. Porsche Macan Turbo. Even with the optional performance pack, it's 60 bhp down on the Italian. Like the Giulia, that heroically muscular V6 is connected to an 8-speed automatic gearbox controlled, when you choose, by gigantic, column-mounted alloy pedals which are still as delectable as they are outrageous. The super saloon carryovers don't stop there. Alfa's also given the bigger, bluffer SUV the Giulia's carbon fiber prop shaft. It stopped short of copying the carbon bonnet and boot lid, though. Can't say I blame them. Is this the superleggera of superSUVs? If you like, but 1,830 kilograms does not equal a light car. Not in isolation. Compared to the competition though, this is an aerial atom. It's at least 100 kilograms less than an AMG GLC 63, the Macan, and so on. So the Italians got an immediate power-to-weight ratio advantage. And that'll make it fast. Good news. Obscenely fast. The Stelvio QV actually matches the Giulia QV off the line. 062 mph. And am matching 3.8 seconds. Top speed, 176 miles per hour. Those are the stats, anyway. I'd eyed them with cynicism, partly because hey, this is an Italian car, and modern gearboxes and turbos are very clever at helping cars hit numbers that they never feel quite as fast as. Think Audi RS5, or VW Golf R. Ultra fist point, toe point, but rarely do they let on they're as frantic as the whoops that a silly eagle figures prove. The Stelvio, on the other hand, goes even more outrageously than the Giulia. Maybe it's the sensation of being sat up higher. Maybe it's the silly driving position. Alfa's forgotten its ergonomic fluke in the Giulia and given the Stelvio pathetically inadequate steering adjustment. At first, it's like being sat on a bar stool driving a Sega Rally arcade machine, if you're tall. Regardless, the Stelvio just hurls itself down the road, seeming uninterested in the sheer mass and forces it's tackling. As per the Giulia, throttle response is immediate, and the gearbox is an utter peach. Surely some of that pace is down to four-wheel drive traction? Thing is, this isn't really a proper four-wheel drive car. Almost all of the time, the Stelvio's front tires are free-wheeling. 100% of drive is channeled to the rear wheels, for greener efficiency and a purer sense of rear drive balance. Only when the ECU detects the rear Pirelli P0s are being overwhelmed are the fronts allowed to ease the burden, so it's not a super sophisticated AWD system. And yes, if you get the car loaded up mid-corner and ask for all 500 horses, the way it begins to oversteer then slams power forward to neutralize the slide can be a little clumsy if the traction control's still on. Better to stay just the right side of sliding in dynamic mode, then. Or, switch to race for the "you're on your own now, fella" safety net-free experience. How's that for purity? Has Alfa calmed the noise down for its sensible family SUV? That would be, no, the Stelvio quadrifoglio is a rasping AL device. Alfa's managed to herd many of the V6's operatic decibels into the cabin, without ramming try-hard crackles and pops so far down your ear canal your eardrums bleed. It's a furiousing machine, angrier and fizzier than the rolling barrage of the GLC 63's thunderous V8. Good job, Alfa. So far, so good, for a blasphemous SUV. Next you'll be arguing at his corners too. Brace yourself. The Stelvio QV handles sensationally well for an SUV. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that no fast SUV nails such a close impression of its super saloon cousin as the Alfa. It's maintained the Giulia's sense of agility, of deftness, and super sharp steering that's matched by deft, controlled chassis misbehavior. There's something approaching delicacy about the way it attacks a road. Apply it to some gnarly direction changes, and their grip in quantities you'd scarcely believe from the 285-section rear P0s. It's stable, controllable, accurate, and though most roads around the Northern Arab Emirates where we met the Stelvio are surfaced smoother than Silvio Berlusconi's forehead, it can report rides superbly too. I know this because I went and found some horrific off-track routes to get an idea of what the Stelvio will make of Britain. Ha, this'll undo it, I thought. Nope. Set the powertrain to dynamic, prod the damper button to soft mode just like a Ferrari, and marvel at how supple this tall, heavy, flamboyant sports tank can be. Steady on, this is unnervingly close to being a 1010 Alfa Romeo. It isn't. I'm not sure the Stelvio QF is as complete a car as its rivals, particularly that fab new AMG GLC 63S. It's not hugely spacious, the driving position is inane, the lack of view through the rear window is appalling, and the infotainment is only decent if you've got 2009 era BMW iDrive to compare it to. Fancy some logical sat-nav? Maybe shove your iPhone in the cup holder. Did it break down? No, happily. Likes a drink, though. Try 11 miles per gallon when you're not hanging about. Are downsized turbo engines really working? Guys, there's also no arguing that besides the quadrifoglio slabs of gloss carbon trim and intricate green and white toothpaste stitching, the core cabin materials are brittle compared to the Germans. There'll be an Audi RS Q5 and BMW X3 to worry about before long too, with lovely cabins. Folks who buy fast crossovers aren't as die-hard an enthusiast market as, say, fast wagon owners. I think more people will be seduced by AMG build quality and media skills after surveying the Alfa's slightly dated cockpit. But if they resist, then they'll discover that Alfa has built a cracking performance SUV, worthy of not just competing against but potentially outdriving the Porsche Macan Turbo it's been benchmarked and will be priced against. Think £6,570,000 when it arrives in the UK in summer 2018. It's fast, comfortable, approachable, snotty, and it's genuinely rewarding to drive. For sheer fizzing, soulful, addictive vigor, the Stelvio has megastar quality. Among its rivals, this thing's every bit as stellar, and as lovable, as the Giulia.